Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow is a star on the field. Is he a fashion icon off the field? Plus, I go one-on-one with wide receiver Charlie Jones, and Andrew Foxmiller is back after gallivanting in Alaska. Hi again, everyone, and welcome in to Enter the Jungle. I'm James Rapien. He is Andrew Foxmiller, and this is Cincinnati Bengals Talk. Catch us every single Tuesday at 8 Eastern. We're part of the Big Play Network. You can catch us weekly as well on Bally Sports. And shout out to our sponsor, Garage Beer. And Andrew, let's dive into what was a fun-filled weekend for Joe Burrow, the fashion icon, the fashion star. Yes, we can call him that after what he did over the weekend in Paris, taking part in Vogue's fashion show, if you want to call it that, walking with Vogue, doing an exclusive with Vogue magazine. We saw him with a bunch of different looks from a bunch of different designers that, quite frankly, I had never heard of. Andrew, what was your reaction when you're seeing Joe Burrow doing something much, much different than you did on vacation, trying on a bunch of different fits and getting all the ladies worked up?
Look, I'll be honest. Being in Alaska, I feel like that would have been a better fit for Burrow. Like, no pun intended. Like, I feel like that he would have learned a lot. We can get into that later. But
Burrow, you and this Alaska trip. Oh my God.
Listen.
Begins. He would have learned
wait till
a
you
lot.
See. Look at the footage. Look at the images of Burrow on his trip, and then we'll show you what I did. You tell me what he would have learned from more. Look, you talk about designers you never even heard of. I saw clothes I'd never seen before. I mean, this is.
I can't wait to tell people what you did in Alaska.
Oh my God.
We will do that coming up. Don't you worry.
All I know is severe jet lag. I get back into Cincinnati. I am out of my mind, lack of sleep, heading into the weekend, and this is what I see. I mean, look, I'm all for worldly, evolving as a person. Let's hope that wrist is still doing well and recovering. Like, imagine my reaction when this is what I come back to. I mean, this is something, James.
Yeah, what the hell does his wrist have to do with anything?
I just that's the focal point right now this offseason. And then this is a severe distraction. This is pure offseason. Just a distraction. It's about as offseason as you can get. What this is.
It's funny you bring this up because someone messaged me and it was about that. Like, I don't want Joe Burrow being too distracted. I want him to be like Brady or Peyton. And I'm not knocking the guy, and I'm basically going to say what I told him. We realized Tom Brady married a supermodel, right? That he met while he was recovering from a torn ACL.
Remember when his Uggs made headlines? Like
he met her on the beach. Like, I'm not worried about the distraction part of this at all. I hope this doesn't become a thing. I was shocked you just brought up his wrist. It was the farthest thing from my mind when I was watching Joe in Paris. In fact, the thing that really stood out to me was the backless suit. This man looked fly in the front. And so I got to ask you, what do you think of the backless suit?
It was there. I saw it. Yeah, that was it
was something.
There. I mean, it was a surprise party in the back. All of a sudden, I was like, "Whoa! Like, what is happening here?" I don't even know if Joe knows what was happening there. I mean, he's trying to learn something about the fashion industry, apparently, as he says. But yeah, I don't even. I mean, that's something.
Could you pull that off?
No, absolutely not. No, I would.
Would you try? Would you put it on?
For a quality episode of Enter the Jungle, possibly.
Would you wear it to Alaska?
Oh, no. Come on. The mosquitoes everywhere there, man. I can't handle
mosquitoes, that. Yeah, and that's where you wanted the $275 million quarterback to go is to Alaska. Yeah, there's 300 and he's worth $1 billion by the end of his career. Yeah, let's go to Alaska and anyways, I'll get into your trip in just a second.
Okay.
But as far as the backless suit goes, you looked fly, Joe, until you walked away. That's all. It does take courage to look that way. Could you wear that at a wedding? No. And this is very much Joe Burrow. He did that exclusive with Vogue, and he said he wanted to be a little uncomfortable and get to learn the fashion industry a little bit more. And I do think that curiosity is something that we've seen from Joe, which I like. I think a lot of the elite athletes have this curiosity. He mentioned playing piano and learning to play piano this offseason, probably because he bought a house that had a really, really nice piano. I'm just guessing that's part of it. But you want to use that thing. Two, it's probably good for his wrist since you're worried about that. Think about all the muscles you're using while you're playing piano. I'm sure that really does matter and help build up all those little tendons and muscles in there that you're trying to build up. but he's naturally curious about a bunch of stuff. Obviously, he's been into fashion. I think this makes a ton of sense. By the way, I did kind of bury the lead a little bit because the second best player on the team as well was there. Jamar Chase, also there at Fashion Week, was there separate. I know they linked up for at least a little bit. Joe was also with Justin Jefferson, who they were kind of together the whole time, it felt like, because they were both in the French Riviera for an event and then moved to Paris. But, man, Joe, Jamar, Justin, all at Fashion Week.
I'm just going to say conclusively, like Jamar pulled it off, everything that I saw compared to Joe. But then again, Jamar didn't have a backless. Yeah, I mean, Jamar just looked better, I thought, with whatever they
you know what's worse? You know what's worse than the backless suit?
Go on.
The baggy trend and I'm fine with the baggy. I grew up in the baggy trend.
Sure.
All right. But like some of the pants that I saw were like 3 times too baggy, like made the 2003 NBA draft. If you remember those, like LeBron James made that look tight, made that look fitted because they were way too bad. Like the baggy trend has gone a little too far. Like you don't need to wear a parachute. I promise that doesn't need to be the case. And you can still be baggy and still have that look. I promise.
Yeah, it's the fashion industry, right? They're taking one concept and they're pushing it as far as it can go. I kind of get it. I'm not saying I agree. If I saw anyone walking around, like in public, I'd go, what the, I get it. But Burrow's point, the crossover between fashion and sports continuing to grow, as he told Vogue, I'm paraphrasing here. I do think there's something to that because especially since Burrow, Chase, really this team is sort of, there's been a lightheartedness, the element of just having fun and going out there and just kind of showing off whatever it is, whether it's fan made, whether it's something you put a lot of thought into. It's become sort of a thing. It's almost become tradition. And I can appreciate that side of things for more Joe's coming from what he said.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think that curiosity is what sparks a lot of these elite athletes, Joe Burrow being one of them. And we mentioned your trip to Alaska. Let's get into what you missed because you've missed a lot. I'm sure the channel doesn't even realize you were gone because my epic thumbnails were so awesome in video editing that they didn't even notice. But you might have missed it. Andrew missed it. We will get into what Andrew missed coming up next. Welcome back to Enter the Jungle. I'm James Rapien. He is Andrew Fox Miller, and it's time for, in case you missed it, because Andrew did. Andrew, you've been out for a little bit, and so you missed a bunch, from T. Higgins to Ted Karras to Hard Knocks. Let's start with T. Higgins. T. Higgins signed his franchise tender, expected to report to training camp on time. When you saw this news, what was your reaction? And did you learn about it on Cincinnati Bengals Talk when you got notified that we had a video? Because I bet you did, because it was a Saturday, and boy, oh boy.
Yeah, so being at that point, I'm out in the middle of Seward, Alaska, or whatever. I get an alert.
Seward, Alaska?
Seward, Seward. I get an alert from any YouTube video that is published by Cincinnati Bengals Talk, as everyone I'm sure does.
Because you ring the bell.
That's right.
You ring the bell.
My reaction, of course, right? Timing, I don't really know what I expected there. It was only a matter of time. Whether or not it was going to cross the threshold of camp, I suppose, was the real question there. But I think it, in a way, maybe it happened sooner than I expected because of the point that we had gotten to in the month of June. I just didn't think the activity would ramp up when it did. But beyond that, yes, this is what we knew what happened. We know T's in it. He wants to be a part of this team. He wants to get a championship. Let's go.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's pretty simple. He knew it was a matter of when, not if. We all did. And so why delay it? I think that's it. Why delay it? And ultimately, let's sign it. Let's focus. Let's ball out. And that's it. That's all he can control. That's it. And he's known that. That's what's interesting is with all this noise and the trade request and all the trade stuff. 1, he knew he was going to be playing for the Bengals. 2, he knew he was going to be playing on the tag. 3, there's still time to get an extension done. No one thinks that an extension is going to get done from his camp or the Bengals side. Maybe something changes, but I don't think there's anyone that's optimistic that the powers that be are going to agree. And I meant to rhyme there. So, yeah, I think that this is a best case scenario for the Bengals. And T. Higgins, lace him up, go put up 1,400, 1,500 yards in 10 tutties and gritty alongside Jamar Chase. And then you'll be at Fashion Weekend next year as well. And you'll have that Paris money, baby. You'll be able to fly there private because you'll be making money. Or you'll be playing on the tag again. And if you get tagged a second time, I think he's a trade candidate. And I think that would be a realistic possibility too. So regardless, he's got to handle what he's got to handle. That makes a ton of sense. From T to a good friend of the program, Ted Karras, 1 year extension. Man, it was just a bunch of news. The Bengals knew you were gone, and they were like, we're going to make sure James keeps that thumbnail game and video editing strong with a Ted Karras extension in the morning, by the way, before a practice. What did you make of the 1 year extension with Teddy K?
Yeah, I mean, caught off guard by the news when it happened, of course. Not surprised necessarily, especially when I kind of saw what the extension was. It makes a lot of sense for both sides. And we've talked to Ted off camera. We've had Ted on our channel, and he's made it very clear, like, he loves it here. He's developing, an entire clothing line for his charity. He's embraced this city.
You're wearing the hat right now.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Like yeah. I'm happy for Ted, if not like more than anything, because I feel like while he didn't outright say it, I think he appreciates the stability. He's raising a family in this city now. That's huge. And he's embraced the city, and they've embraced him. He's a great player, and he's got that relationship with Joe Burrow that's almost priceless right now. So
yeah, for sure. And last one, Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you make of it? The Bengals are obviously part of the in-season Hard Knocks, the entire AFC North being covered. What's your reaction? What's your thoughts? I don't want to speak for you.
Yeah. So my reaction, once the news kind of developed, found out, it's this AFC North, fine. I think this team, and I know we'll probably talk about more and more as we kind of speculate on Hard Knocks in general, but I think this team is equipped for that type of coverage. The Bengals themselves have been doing much like a Hard Knocks in terms of coverage and kind of, all over them in terms of filming and getting their takes on and off the field. So I think this is a mature team that can handle it and an interesting team that can handle it. And hey, perfect. Start rolling December, follow that team deep into the playoffs. Be insane if Hard Knocks is following them all the way to New Orleans. Just saying.
Yeah. And by the way, they're going to start rolling in camp. The show will start to air in December. So we could see Hard Knocks cameras from the jump, and it'll pick up in camp following all of those things. And obviously, there's a ton of AFC North games in December. If you're looking for my reaction to any of these topics, well, check out Cincinnati Bengals Talk on YouTube and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, and you'll get them. Up next, Andrew Fox Miller eats dirt on vacation. That's next. Welcome back to Enter the Jungle. He's Andrew Fox Miller, a.k.a. Mr. I Eat Dirt. I'm James Rapien. Welcome back to Enter the Jungle. You're shaking your head. You're hating this. You're back from your Alaska trip, and you ate dirt.
It wasn't
Alaska.
dirt.
You ate the Alaskan dirt. That's what I was told you ate the Alaskan dirt.
I don't even, no. What you're referring to. So, okay, context. I'm sending James images of my trip, and we go kayaking in Seward, Alaska, and they're like, who wants to go foraging?
You ate sewer dirt? Andrew Fox Miller ate sewer dirt in Alaska. It's unbelievable.
I mean, I'm not saying it was much better than dirt. I don't know. But then they were like, who wants to try this seaweed? Oh, by the way, this seaweed is called bladder rack because it bursts. It's filled with fluid like a bladder, and you want to eat. There was 4 of us. I was the last one. I was like, I don't think I'm going to do this. And I was like, if I'm going to do it, I want it on camera. So there you go, James. On camera, me eating bladder rack. That was the whole trip, actually. I just leave it at that. No.
Bladder, sewer. Like, what are you doing to me right now?
Hey.
Dirt, bladder, sewer. It sounds like an amazing time that and you said earlier in the show, you said that Joe should have went to Alaska to eat bladder dirt in sewer, Alaska.
That's right. So while Joe was off on the runway with a backless top, I was staying on an actual runway, watching planes coming and going, and like we're going out in the wilderness, seeing wildlife, dog sledding to help dogs train, and you learn all about their mentality and work ethic.
What's that dog mentality?
Dude, these dogs are incredible. Like, it's like, no, that was a highlight of my trip. It wasn't the seaweed, I can tell you that. It wasn't the bladder rack.
We need to get a shirt. Andrew Fox Miller eats bladder rack.
You won't even eat a salad, so I know you wouldn't have eaten that thing.
No, I'll eat some pretty crazy stuff. I probably would have.
Eaten a
Salad? No, I just don't enjoy salad. And I think that most
weird.
people eat salad thinking they're being healthy, and most of the time the salad isn't healthy, so it's dumb and you should just order the burger anyway.
Oh, so you have a whole philosophy behind it.
This isn't about me.
Okay.
This is about you eating dirt in Alaska. Tell them, come on, don't act like you didn't.
No one ate dirt in Alaska. I don't even know what you're trying to say right now.
The highlight of your trip was the dogs, though. The dog sledding.
Dog sledding was, dude, it was awesome. And look, shout out, like this wouldn't have happened if my wife has been to 49 of 50 states. This was number 50. She accomplished all of it. This was the final frontier.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
See, you learned something all that way just to get some bladder rack. Up next, I go one-on-one with Charlie Jones, and I promise we will not talk about bladder racks. Welcome back to Enter the Jungle. He's Andrew Fox Miller. I'm James Rapien. Charlie Jones is battling for that starting slot wide receiver position, hoping to take more reps on offense this year. I caught up with him during Bengals minicamp and talked with him one-on-one. In the Bengals locker room with Charlie Jones. Charlie, obviously, you're going into year 2. And I assume you're trying to take a big step forward this year. What has this offseason been like, in this offseason program, been like for you going into your second season?
Yeah, I mean, going home last year, I knew that I had a lot of things I needed to improve on. So my emphasis was really just going home and making sure, we're on break, but I'm working. Like, I wanted to come back and show what I can do. And then when I get here, there's opportunities out here that I want to show that I can be that guy that we can rely on when we need me. So that's just really been my mindset through the off season, through right now, and going into these next 5 weeks that we have.
What were some of the things you were focused on improving this off season?
A lot. I mean, I was just trying to improve overall strength, quickness in and out of my breaks, understanding the offense, being able to play in the slot, play on the outside. So if we get in a situation where, I need to go on the outside, everyone's comfortable with me being out there. So that's really just been the way I've been thinking about it, like just trying to get in the playbook as much as I can. And then just, my mindset going home on this little break is just working on the little things within my route running, like getting in and out of my breaks, top of the route, stuff like that, just making sure I'm, fine-tuning these little things.
You see an opportunity with Tyler Boyd no longer on the roster. He was here for 8 seasons to slide in there and be, not Tyler, I don't mean that, but play in the slot more and get more offensive snaps.
Yeah, definitely. I think, that's my personal goal for myself. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm working towards. And I need to go out there and prove that I can do that. So that's like what I was saying. I just need to make sure I continue to move in the right direction when I go home, moving into camp.
As far as the slot, we talked about it last year playing there. And at Purdue, you were playing outside a ton. You were learning life in the NFL as a slot receiver as well. How are you from a comfort standpoint now?
Yeah, I mean, I feel way more comfortable in the slot now. Like we said last year, last year was really the first time in my career that I've really played that much in the slot.
Sure.
So now being in there last year and this year, now I'm feeling way more comfortable, in that role.
Is it an instincts thing, like learning the instincts? I don't think it's just a playbook thing. Like what goes into that? Because it is it's the same position from a wide receiver position, but it's a different role, like you said.
I think it's just a lot of, a feel thing. Like, it might be drawn in the playbook one way, but, in the slot it's kind of like, oh, this is what they're doing. I need to kind of react based off that. So it's definitely more of a feel thing, I think.
What do you think of these new kickoff rules? I know Darren said that you text him the moment that they came out.
Yeah, I texted him right away. And then, we just talked over the phone. I think it's going to be interesting. I think a lot of things are going to change, from when it went in to, I think throughout the whole season. I think it's just going to be interesting throughout the preseason to see how people, scheme and I just think it's going to be something that's so new that everyone's going to be constantly having to change. Right now something might work, but 2 months from now it might not work the same. So I think it's just going to be cool to kind of see how it plays out.
You mentioned strength earlier. How did you improve that this off season? As Jordan Battle yells, Chuck Sizzle.
Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
How did you improve your strength this off season? What were you trying to do?
Battle is my favorite. No, I just made sure there was an emphasis in my, when I went home, I wanted to be in there lifting, and last year I had the shoulder, and before that I was a little bit banged up, so finally was able to go home feeling good. So that was just kind of my mindset, just making sure I was lifting constantly and just trying to put on more weight.
Really good stuff there from Bengals wide receiver Charlie Jones. If you couldn't tell, Andrew, media started to circle the one-on-one interview, and it went from me and him to about 50 cameras in me and him. And so the end there was a bit funny. But I do think he's off to a promising start to this year, and I do think he takes a step forward.
I'm excited to watch Charlie Jones. I feel like everyone was talking about him last offseason. I don't think there's enough chatter about him just yet this offseason, and relatively speaking. But I understand why. There's a lot of competition, but it's going to make it all the more exciting.
Buckle up, because we're going to have you covered when it comes to Charlie Jones news, when it comes to all things Cincinnati Bengals all offseason long. So hit that subscribe button on YouTube, ring the bell. And for Andrew Fox Miller, I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for watching Enter the Jungle.